St Rose Venerini was born on the 9th of February 1656 in Viterbo. Her father Goffredo was a doctor in the Grand Hospital in Viterbo. Her mother's name is Maria Zambicetti and she has three siblings, Domenico, Maria Maddalena and Orazio. Rosa was naturally gifted with intelligence and an uncommon human sensibility. She was brought up in firm Christian principles, and the education that Rosa received from her family enabled her to develop her talents. At the age of 7, Rosa made a vow to consecrate her life to God. However, in the early years of her youth, she lived through a conflict between the attractions of the world and her vow to God. Through a trusting prayer and mortification, Rosa was able to overcome this difficulty. At the age of 20, Rosa was uncertain about the plans for her future. There were only two options for women at the time, which were marriage or religious life. Rosa was keen for both, but she felt as though she was called for something different that would be good for the church and the society of her time. She committed much time in suffering and searching before reaching a resolution that was completely innovative. In 1676, Rosa listened to the advice that was given by her father and entered the Dominican monastery of St. Catherine, where she hoped to fulfill her vow to God. In the monastery, Rosa learned to listen to God in silence and in meditation. After only being in the monastery for a few months, Rosa had to return home due to the sudden death of her father and to look after her suffering mother. Within a few years after the death of her father, Rosa also had to witness the death of her brother Domenico and her mother. Rosa was unable to bear the sorrow of their death. At the age of 27, Rosa was challenged by the desire to do something great for God, and in May 1684, she began to gather the girls and women of the area in her own home to recite the Rosary. Through this, Rosa started to realize that the women of the common people were a slave of cultural, moral, and spiritual poverty. She began to understand that the Lord was calling her to a higher mission, which she gradually identified as the urgent need to dedicate herself to the instruction and Christian formation of young women. On August 30, 1685, with the approval of the Bishop of Viterbo, Cardinal Urbano Sacchetti, and with the collaboration of two friends, Rosa left her father's home to begin a new school according to an innovative plan that had grown in prayer and her search for the will of God. Rosa's first objective was to give the girls of the common people a complete Christian formation and prepare them for life in the society. Rosa opened the first public school for girls in Italy. Her work did not take much long to receive recognition of the religious and civil authorities. Rosa and her two friends faced resistance from clergy who considered the teaching of the catechism as their private office. However, the harshest suspicion came from conformists who were scandalized by the boldness of Rosa, who had taken to heart the education of ignorant girls. Despite all this, Rosa faced everything for the love of God, and with her characteristic strength and her continuous in the path that she had undertaken, Rosa was truly following the plan of God. Her efforts paid off as the same pastors who were against Rosa's actions recognized the moral improvement that the work of education generated among the girls and mothers. Rosa's initiative was acknowledged, and its fame went beyond the confines of the diocese. The Bishop of Montefiasco, Cardinal Marc Antonio Barbarigo, saw the impact of Rosa's work, and he invited Rosa to his diocese. From 1692 to 1694, Rosa opened 10 schools in Montefiasco and the villages surrounding Lake Bolsena. The cardinal provided the materials needed, and Rosa made the families aware, trained the teachers, and organized the schools. Before returning to Viterbo, Rosa entrusted the schools and the teachers to the direction of a young woman called St. Lucia Filippini. After schools being opened in Viterbo and Montefiasco, other schools began to open in Lazio. Rosa reached Rome in 1706, but the first experience in Rome was a real failure. Rosa had to wait 6 years before regaining the trust of the authorities. On 8th December 1713, with the help of a friend, Rosa was able to open one of her schools in the center of Rome. On 24th October 1716, they received a visit from Pope Clement XI, accompanied by 8 cardinals who wanted to attend the lessons. Amazed and pleased at what he saw, he said to Rosa, "Signora Rosa, you are doing that which we cannot do. We thank you very much because with these schools you will sanctify Rome." Governors and cardinals started to ask for schools in their areas. Rosa's duties became intense, consisting of travel and hard work, interwoven with joys and sacrifices for the formation of new communities. With these new schools, there was great moral improvement in the youth. Rosa died a saintly death in the community of St. Mark's in Rome on the evening of 7th May 1728. She had opened more than 40 schools. Her remains were entombed in the nearby church of the Jesuits. However, on her beatification, they were transferred to the chaplet of the Generalate in Rome. Pope Pius XII declared her blessed on 4th May 1952. A miracle happened in her name when a young boy from Africa was suffering from cancer. Sister Maria, a Venerini sister, started praying for him with the novena to Rosa. On the 5th day of the novena, the boy sat up in bed and started eating, and within days he was fully healed. On 15th October 2006, Pope Benedict XVI raised her to the status of a saint.